Hi everybody, Claudia here with Healthy Preparedness. In this video, I want to share with you why I am so adamant that everybody have at least one enema bag stored in their home storage. During a disaster, there's a handful of issues that we run into. During a prolonged disaster, illnesses are the main cause of death during a disaster. Respiratory illnesses are number one, and that's one reason why I feel so passionate about trying to help people understand why having a simple nebulizer will be such an effective tool to have during a disaster situation, because it's so great for respiratory illnesses. I have a video about that one. Go look that one up. You can learn about that there. But an enema bag is just as important. You know, we have respiratory illnesses, but then of course we have the illnesses where that involve diarrhea and a lot of vomiting. And when that happens, a person is losing a lot of fluids, they become dehydrated, and they're losing a lot of electrolytes. A person cannot recover from an illness when they're severely dehydrated and they have a loss of electrolytes. In fact, that in and of itself can kill somebody. You know, I always shared at my classes and seminars a story about my daughter who had the flu, and she was over the flu, but she was not recovering and we weren't sure what was going on. We took her to the doctor, and it ended up being that her electrolytes were just really low. And once we got those up, she was a whole new person. It's like the battery was just charged, she was ready to go, and we were out acting totally normal the next day, like as if she wasn't even sick for a week. But it taught me a good lesson. It taught me how important it is to make sure that those electrolyte levels are up, and how important they are to our overall health and well-being. So look at this picture right here. This is a picture that I try to embed in everybody's mind. You see on one side, you see an IV bag. On the other side, you see an enema bag. If we are in a disaster situation where somebody is so ill that they have lost a lot of their fluids, they're dehydrated, and they've lost a lot of their electrolytes, an enema bag is the answer to an IV bag if we aren't able to have access to an IV bag. I mean, in today's world, IVs are a huge blessing. We can go to the hospital, we can get an IV, we can get hydrated, we can get those electrolyte levels up, and it works. The person just feels so much better after that has been done. But if we're in a disaster situation where that is not available, what are we going to do? And the person who is ill, they're not getting enough down to hydrate themselves and to keep those electrolyte levels up. The answer is an enema bag. And you know, people always say an enema, like, so I'm like flushing them out. No. There's an enema. You can do an enema with an enema bag, or you could do a retention enema with an enema bag. They're almost like two different, totally opposite things. In the event where somebody is so ill and they've lost those fluids, their electrolyte levels are low, what you want to do is a retention enema. That's basically where you, first of all, you put some sort of oil on the tip of the enema, that just so it'll insert into the rectum easily, and you place your fluids into the bag, and there's a electrolyte recipe. Electrolyte, like you can do something as simple as Gatorade if you wanted to, if you have Gatorade available to you, but why not just make it yourself? It's so simple. It's just a matter of having salt, sugar, a pinch of baking soda, and water. That's it. Put those two together and you have your own electrolyte solution. I will have that recipe underneath this video, by the way. It is in my Beyond Wheat and Weeds book in two different places in there. The recipes are a little bit different, but they're both great. It's just a matter of getting the sugar and the salt, the baking soda into the body through and along with the fluid, the water, of course. So after you've placed the oil on the tip, insert it into the rectum, hang this back up somewhere high before you get started, and allow the fluid, you undo the clasp so that the fluid starts entering the body. If it's a warm fluid, the body will be able to just relax and allow to retain it better. So it would be good to do it slightly warm. If it's cold, what does the body do? It cramps up, and so it'll have a hard time keeping that in the body. Just allow the fluid to enter the rectum, go into the colon, and you have them retain it, meaning hold that fluid in for 20 minutes, at least 20 minutes, like 20 to 30 minutes. And you do that a few times a day. And what's happening as that fluid is sitting there in the colon, the body is absorbing that and they're becoming hydrated and they're getting those electrolytes into their system. If the person is so ill and weak that they can't retain it, they just don't have the physical strength to hold that in, then you pinch the buttocks closed and help them retain it for that length of time. That can be something life-saving that you can do for them. So, you know, whenever I start talking about enemas in my seminars or classes, people are like, I have to do what? I have to do what with what? And I have to put what where? And I really just feel very strongly that if we are in a situation where we have a loved one who is severely ill, severely dehydrated, and has a huge loss of electrolytes, we will do anything to help them, and nothing will seem like it's a big deal or embarrassing or too hard. I will have instructions on how to do a retention enema below this video in a PDF link. But like I said, it is in my Beyond Weight and Weeds book as well. So an enema bag is great for retention enemas. Get the electrolytes up, get the fluids back up, right? But it's also great for doing a regular enema. So how do you do a regular enema? It's just like I said, you place the oil on the tip, insert it into the rectum, allow the fluid to enter, and then let it sit there. It doesn't have to be in there for very long, just until it triggers a bowel movement. If somebody's constipated and you're trying to get fluid into their body, everything starts moving and cramping up, and then it wants to flush out. So they will need to run to the restroom and eliminate their bowels, and that will relieve constipation. Constipation, interestingly enough, is a killer during a disaster. So give people relief with that. Another thing that an enema bag is great for is triggering labor. So a woman who's, it's interesting because it seems like a lot of women nowadays, they don't go into labor naturally. They're overdue and they still aren't going into labor. And intervention needs to happen where labor is actually triggered and they're having the baby. So an enema actually can trigger labor, and so that's good to know. Do an enema, or have a woman who is very overdue do an enema and see if that helps trigger labor. Another reason why I like enema bags is because you can use the vaginal tip that comes with it to do a vaginal cleanse for pretty severe vaginal infections. So one nice thing that we'll want to have is the puppy pads. Remember how I talked about that in one of the videos? I mean, these are basically just chux pads. You can get them from Target, from Walmart, from Costco, the online, Amazon. Find the cheapest price. Get a bunch of them. Get as many as you can. If we're dealing with doing retention enemas, some fluid will be coming out. The ill person may not be able to retain it. Some of it may come out. It may be a messy situation. We want to catch those infectious fluids with like a puppy pad, a chux pad, so that the fluid doesn't leak through on the other side, so we don't have to soil all our bedding and our sheets and have to find a way to wash that with water, which we may not have a lot of at that time. Anyway, these are going to be a huge blessing to us. I have a video just about these, and you can go watch that. And I have a link. I'll share a link underneath this video too as to where you can get these for cheap. But anyway, so what can we use an enema bag for? We can use it to do retention enemas for people who are dehydrated and have a loss of electrolytes. We can do it to trigger labor. We can use it to clean out the bowels for constipation, and we can use it for severe vaginal infections. And this particular one, we can fill it up with hot water, plug it up at the top, and use it as a hot water pack. Or bag, and that'll just help keep us warm during disasters. So go get yourself an enema bag. You'll be so glad that you have one. It'll be a huge blessing to you and your family. It's only $15. The link that I provide at the bottom, that's one of my favorite ones that I've purchased. It's nice and heavy duty and solid and works really well. And once again, like I said, I love that it can also be used as just a hot water bottle. So there you have it. I will have more videos coming soon. Thanks for watching this video. I will see you next time. Bye.